It's the 10th of December. Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live more news up here at Desawe in Kanda. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And mine is Esi Benewa Otu. Join us as we give you the headlines now.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by...
Suspected killer in a Commonwealth Hall stabbing arrested as investigations begin.
Electricity Company of Ghana to replace prepaid cards for customers who may have lost or destroyed their cards following system failure.
Also, fumigation of Kumasi Academy begins in an effort to prevent further deaths from swine flu.
On Mission tonight, we revisit Dafiama in the Upper West region where the lives of pregnant women are being saved because community leaders have made giving birth at home a taboo.
Charges of indecency dropped against 24 women caught wearing trousers at a party near the Sudanese capital, Khartoum.
We have details of these, including sports and entertainment, all coming up in the next 1 hour. Alfred will take that very first story.
Absolutely. We're going to our first story this evening where the police in Accra have begun investigations into the murder of an old student of Commonwealth Hall of the University of Ghana, Legon. Meanwhile, the suspected killer is also in the grips of the police assisting investigations.
The incident reportedly occurred around 6 p.m. Saturday, December 9, at the charging grounds in the Commonwealth Hall. It reportedly started as a mere argument between the deceased and the alleged killer in the old Vandals bars after a funeral at Amahia, Accra. The argument became heated, compelling the driver to drop the two off at Atomic Junction after attempts to separate them were not successful. But the two reportedly followed up to the Commonwealth Hall, and it was at this time that a killer allegedly grabbed a knife from a kebab seller to stab the deceased severally. The victim was rushed to the Legon hospital by the suspect and some vandals, but couldn't survive. The suspect was later arrested by the police, who have begun investigations into the circumstances leading to the stabbing and eventual death. Meanwhile, the leadership of Old Vandals Association has extended condolences to the family of the deceased and called on all to remain calm whilst the law enforcement agencies investigates their death.
Well, what a sad incident that. Let's move on. And the Ministry of Education has contracted Oscapa, a venture to carry out a fumigation exercise at the Kumasi Academy following recent deaths in the school. The exercise, which began on Sunday, December 10, comprises general and viral fumigation, which will be climaxed with an intensive cleanup exercise on December 12.
The exercise will also cover 8 houses, 8 dormitories comprising 99 rooms, 45 classrooms, the science laboratory, the dining and assembly halls, the kitchen, lavatories and the sick bay of the school. Majority of the students have left the school for their various homes, leaving less than 50 students. The contractor in charge of the exercise and Chief Executive Officer of Escopa Ventures, Oscar Apple, said his outfit will ensure the exercise will be effective since the team is committed to fumigating every corner of the school. He indicated that general fumigation will cater for insects such as bedbugs and cockroaches, while the viral fumigation will also cater for virus and bacteria.
Once we are using the right kind of chemical, we know that we are still on the job. We are giving the assurance that students on Kumasi Academy campus will be safe, because we know the chemicals are going to work on whichever virus or bacteria that might have found themselves on campus.
Jose Apple said although the chemicals used for the exercise are dangerous, the fumigated areas will be habitable after a period of 2 hours. School authorities are urging parents to bring back their wards for vaccination to prevent further spread of the disease.
Residents of Zongo communities have embraced the government's decision to put up high-rise buildings as part of its development agenda in the Zongo community. However, residents want government to make job provision a priority for residents in the Zongo communities.
The community shares the same constituency with the seat of government, the Flagstaff House in Kanda, and two major TV stations, the state broadcaster, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and TV3 Network. This community is a few minutes drive from the Kotoka International Airport, the Central Business District of Accra, the Parliament of Ghana, the ministries in Accra, and other equally important landmarks. That is how strategic Nima is located in the nation's heartbeat. For years, residents here have cried for development, but to no avail. Residents here still live in filth with poor living conditions.
One, you have a proper discussion with the people. Okay. If they fall into the vision and they agree to it, let's say the investor will be given the opportunity to collapse the land or the houses, build high-rise.
How far have we gotten with that?
If they agree, and then a kind of memorandum of understanding or agreement is signed, now there will be a lease agreement between the investor and the landlord.
Right.
The whole structure is put up, then 10 or so levels, stories. So maybe the landlord is asked to take one floor to reside.
This is not the first time residents here at Nima have received such a promise. Former President Jerry John Rawlings, John Ajekum Kufuor, John Evans Atamils, as well as John Dramani Mahama have all made such a promise. Now, the current NPP government led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has also made this promise. We are back here again at Nima to find out the reaction of residents towards it. For residents here, the creation of a Zongo ministry alone is enough to show government's willingness to develop the Zongo community.
When you have such buildings, for example, in my house like this, a tall house, can occupy about 100 or 200 people here. I think someone can use so that the stretches of the people of Nima will reduce. If they promise and they fail, it's up to them.
Improve upon the sanitation, the Nima drainage system, and toiletry and so on.
Our visit took us to this ghetto where a number of youth had gathered smoking marijuana. This is how they spent their day. They also welcomed government's decision to develop the Zongo community. However, they are of the opinion job creation should be government's main objective at the Zongos.
We want work. If we get work, we go for build our house for our grandmothers and everybody. And the people who don't get money, we go full help them. But if you say they can't build a house for us, the house we go chill the house. We go for the chill house.
If you can come out us here to go to Dodo or Medina and should develop the place for us, we like it. We don't need help. We are suffering, no work. If I don't have money, if I see my brother money, I will take it because I don't have some. We beg the government say it should help us.
The indigenous community was set up long before modern-day planning came into being. President of the Ghana Institute of Planners, Alfred Kwesi Opoku, however, says a lot of work would have to go in to be able to develop the area.
All these measures to the place to be fireproof, water must run every day. If the children have to play, there must be a meadow floor where there's a playground created and so on. So all these must be built in, and when these facilities are prepared and inputted into the building, the cost is going to be high. So how many people can afford the high-rise building in terms of cost? They can only do that if they knew the implications and they agreed that we are prepared. Other than that, you put a high-rise and people from outside Nima will come and buy the buildings and stay within it, and we gradually push the people of Nima away.
Residents here are hoping this would not be just another promise. For TV3, Kwabna Edu Jervi.
Farmers in the Osuwem in the Shai Osudoku district of the Greater Accra region are proposing the institution of a national pricing of farm produce. They believe the initiative would make farming attractive and get those in it to be more serious to boost the economy.
Bad roads, lack of farm inputs and chemicals, post-harvest losses and many other challenges have been the bane of agriculture in Ghana. Farmers in Osuwem are not new to them. Additionally, lack of control and fixed pricing has left farmers at the mercy of middlemen. In Osuwem and Osudoku, over 40% of the population are into farming. Some are also into animal rearing, with several animals on large scale. Emmanuel Tay Amponsa is a 45-year-old farmer who has been into large-scale farming for 20 years. He wants government to support farmers with more farming implements and find a common fixed price and find a common or a fixed prices for farm produce.
To buy a tractor now is not easy. If he can help us to get a tractor, we need it. Maybe if we can pay small too, he can help us. And our dam too, if we get a dam, sometime we no get rain. So if we get a big dam, that one too can help us.
All right, let's go to our earlier story where the police in Accra have begun investigation into the murder of an old student of Commonwealth Hall of the University of Ghana, Legon. We didn't know the suspects also in the grips of the police assisting with investigations. ASP Ifiatenge speaks for the Accra Region Police and he's joined us on the telephone. Good evening to you, madam. I thank you very much for your time this evening. Now, what exactly is the latest to this investigation, if you can tell us? Hello?
Hello?
Good evening to you, ASP Ifiatenge.
Hello, good evening.
Thank you for your time. Can you tell us if there's any latest to the investigation into the murder of the old student of the University of Ghana, Commonwealth Hall?
Yes, thank you very much. Just around this time yesterday, we also had a report of an alleged stab, which the police proceeded, and unfortunately, one person had lost his life. But the police have been able to cause the arrest of the suspect in this, where he has been assisting police in investigations the whole of today. So for now, what we can say is that he's in police custody. But what led to the alleged stabbing, that is what is still not unclear. But we also know that it was out of an argument which escalated into that. So the case is still under investigation.
Well, the statement from the president of the Old Vandals Association indicates that the alleged is an intruder, that he is not an old vandal. Can you establish whether indeed he is an old vandal or not? That is, if yes, it has been revealed to you.
Yes, the police can still not establish that, but actually that is not even the case. What matters here now is the fact that somebody has lost his life. And secondly, what we also know is that they were all in a bus that went for a funeral, and on their way, there was an argument, and unfortunately, one person lost their life. But we also know that he's supposed to be an associate vandal. What that means, police is yet to establish that, and still under investigation.
I see. But has he told you exactly what they were arguing about in the bus and then onto the campus?
What they were actually arguing about, I indicated, is still not unclear. But we have spoken to him. He has given us his narration. And we are also trying to get a few suspects to speak to. But now, as I speak to you now, it is still not unclear. What we have is something that we are still investigating together with a bit of information, of pieces of information. We're also gathering from a few witnesses who were there at the scene. So, but it's still not very clear what they were arguing about. But he has given us a narration, which of course I believe that will protect that now for us to be able to proceed with the further investigations regarding the said murder.
Have you visited the crime scene, and did you retrieve any items from there?
Yes, we had crime scene investigators that went to the scene. That was yesterday and this morning, and they are still picking up bits of information.
I see. Now, we earlier got information that he was stabbed with the knife of a kebab seller, and then also some broken bottles were used there. Are you able to confirm that to us?
Yes.
Hello? Hello? Unfortunately, we seem to have lost ASP Fiatenge. We'll try to raise her back on the telephone, hopefully, to conclude on this conversation and find out exactly what the police indeed has been able to glean out of their preliminary investigations into this rather unfortunate incidents that has led to the loss of life, talking about an old student of the Commonwealth Hall of the University of Ghana, Legon. Investigations are still ongoing. We don't know that the suspect has been described as an associate vandal. Well, exactly what that means, we're going to be getting a lot more explanation to that. But an earlier statement from the president of the Old Vandals Association described this alleged suspect as an intruder and into the Vandals fold. We're getting a lot more detail into this. We'll let you know as we go on in our subsequent bulletins. Izzy?
Well, away from crime, and several cases of tuberculosis are left undiagnosed due to stigma, the biggest hurdle to the treatment of the disease, though the National TB Control Program is engaging communities and telling them that getting TB is not a curse. A lot more is needed to encourage affected persons to report to health facilities.
Statistics from the World Health Organization indicate 3 million out of about 9 million people who develop TB each year never get to a doctor. Among those who do, many delay until the illness is advanced. This reduces the rate at which they could be saved. Apart from ignorance and poverty, stigma remains the #1 barrier to TB diagnosis.
I just got a story that a patient set himself ablaze just because he was told he has TB. And I said, wow, we still have this disease stigmatized.
People still don't believe in the germ theory of disease, and they believe that a disease like TB is spiritual.
Even healthcare workers can be blamed for encouraging stigma.
For instance, when I used to work at CDU, they will tell you that, if TB is not dangerous, why do you isolate the patient? So some of those things that we ourselves are doing contribute to the stigmatization of the disease.
Though stigma is #1 barrier, there are others. The National Tuberculosis Control Program is working at reducing stigma.
We are doing a lot of educational activities around the country, engaging communities to go down and discuss the germ theory of disease, to sensitize people about the fact that getting TB doesn't mean you are cursed. It is a bacteria that is moving around.
Health staff are being trained on efforts to reduce stigma.
We, the health professionals, also treating the TB patient with dignity, then the stigma can go down. Previously, we used to admit them. So everybody was asking, if it's not a dangerous disease, why do you admit them and then isolate them? Now we treat them in the community.
Communities are also being relied on to reduce stigma.
We need to make sure that health staff are so knowledgeable they can assure patients and let them know that it's a curable condition, so you don't need to be scared. We need to demystify the disease to the public.
One other effective way is encourage early treatment to reduce stigma. The National TB Control Program is intensifying education to help in efforts at reducing stigma.
The Electricity Company of Ghana would, from tomorrow, Monday, start replacing prepaid cards free of charge to customers who have either misplaced or destroyed theirs. Only customers at Dansuman, Kaneshi, Achimota and Kolebu who have been affected by the system failure would benefit from the exercise.
After a week of chaos and confusion to serving customers, the Electricity Company of Ghana appears to have resolved its problems and have since yesterday been serving customers without any difficulty. Although Sunday not a working day, workers of ECG were at post to serve customers since the problem was rectified Friday evening.
Okay, what we did was that we had all the cards brought in here to the district. So we worked on them and the customers are coming to the district to have them picked. You saw people sitting there. They pick their cards from there, they come in here to buy and then they go home.
As at 2 p.m., majority of the customers had been served.
After church, at the same time,
Between yesterday Saturday and today Sunday, close to 1,000 ECG customers here at Dansuman have already been served. But then there are still others, as you can see behind me, who are still waiting to be served because they are having peculiar problems with their meters. Apparently, some had been visiting the place since yesterday upon a call from operators that all problems had been resolved, but they have still not been served.
When I brought my card, they checked and said the card is faulty, it's inactive. So we should wait here for a while. I think they have arranged for transportation for us to go and check whether it's the fault of the meter or the card itself.
The district manager, Tamara Bano, explained measures have been put in place to resolve the problem for such customers.
Theirs is a date and time problem. It's an error on the meter, so we'll rectify that at the house.
However, some business owners who lost their prepaid cards through the process have had to resort to generator to sustain their business. Engineer Samoa of the Electricity Company of Ghana says all those people have been factored into their replacement plan, which begins Monday.
It's not that they've lost the cars are still with us. We've worked on them, we've corrected them. But they didn't write their name, they didn't write their telephone number, they just put the cars in the envelope. Now we've worked on the cars. We cannot identify whose cars are these. So what we have decided is that we'll give them fresh cars at our cost.
We were told some shops which would have been open today have been shut because of the system failure. Interestingly, while some lost out due to the lack of credit, others had their light on even when they were not operating.
And over 2,000 market women at the 31st Market in Accra have been evicted by a private developer. Frederick Clarence Williams reports the aggrieved market women are protesting their eviction from the market.
Scores of traders who ply their trade at the 31st Market in Accra are protesting against the decision to evict them from the market by a private developer who allegedly claimed the entire land belongs to him. According to the market women, the land was allocated to them by Accra Metropolitan Assembly 30 years ago. The traders threatened to march to the Flagstaff House naked if authorities did not intervene. They therefore called on the presidency to intervene immediately to ensure that their livelihood is protected.
All of a sudden, they closed this gate when they started fencing some of our shares, and we say we don't understand it. Because when you talk, they will say they will beat us because they are men, and we are afraid, so the government will come in.
The traders maintained they would resist further attempts of ejection if authorities are unconcerned about the activities of the private developer.
Now he cuts more and fence it, and today, come and see where he has taken. And people has gone to some funerals and all these things. The shed has, the zinc has been removed. When it gets rain, things are going to be spoiled.
They hinted they will henceforth ply their trade on the streets of Accra if they are forcefully ejected to protect their source of livelihood.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of Vodafone Ghana, Yolanda Kuba, says data-driven marketing is a way forward in sustaining businesses and making them profitable. At this year's presidential dinner dance, she called for collaboration with the private sector for effective use of data to enhance, personalize the customer experience.
CEO of Vodafone Yolanda Kuba was of the view data collected through consumer interactions and engagements is useful in predicting future behaviors of customers that will eventually inform marketing strategies. She indicated marketers who do not embrace data are going to be irrelevant.
Fundamental to marketing is actually understanding people, understanding human behavior, understanding what makes people tick. And that is called consumer insights. While machines are taking over a lot of things, consumer insight is still required. And therefore, the art part of marketing in the foreseeable future will still be a relevant and a very important part of what we needed to deliver on.
Yolanda Kuba suggested the need for collaboration within the private sector for improved marketing.
In all the universities in this country, that can write some kind of code for you in order to improve your ROI. Reach out to these people, because if you are not reaching out to them, the nerds that are sitting in Silicon Valley and other areas indeed will come and they will eat your lunch.
President of the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, Kojo Mata, stressed data-driven marketing comes before a successful business undertaking.
To lead prospects successfully to conversion, marketers need visibility across the entire user journey from first contact to final purchase. This is only possible with access to relevant data across every stage of the buying process.
The 9 saw the presentation of certificates to some CIMG participants. Entrepreneur and Member of Council of State Dr. Nico Tejani was inducted as a Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana for his contribution to the marketing profession.
Look at the kind of resources we have as a continent. We should not be experiencing this level of poverty. African leaders, unfortunately, take decisions that will make them win an election rather than will improve the life of the people. We need to know where we are moving to and what we want to achieve. We can say, rather than everybody come and decide what he or she wants to
do. That's a good reason to smile. At least tonight we'll have some cold winds
exactly.
to sleep by, all other things being equal. We're still live here on News 360. But we'll go for a quick break. We're back with missions. Do stay with us.
Hello and welcome to Mission Ghana with support from Star Ghana, funding from UK Aid, Danida and the European Union. Let's do our very first story. And it is a taboo for women in communities in the Dafiama, Busia, Isa district of the Upper West region to deliver at home. This is one of the several interventions by community leaders to ensure women visit health facilities when pregnant. This has saved several women who otherwise would have involved in complications during delivery.
How safe they are, honestly, depends on divine interventions.
This is indeed needed, but saving pregnant women cannot be left alone to divine intervention. Over 1,276 women give birth every year in the district, out of 8,922 women who are matured to get pregnant. These women need to be protected.
Once you are pregnant, you stand the chance of having a risk. So we treat all pregnant women as women with a risk.
Several challenges threaten their safety. The district has no hospital. The road network is in a poor state. Therefore, transportation is a headache.
We use this Motor King as our community emergency transport system. And looking at the Motor King is not feasible for women to travel with. Imagine a pregnant woman sitting in a Motor King. And looking at the road network is very bad. It's full of potholes and what have you. These women have to sit in the Motor King for us to transport them either to Nadole Hospital or to the regional hospital.
But even the Motor King is not always available to some communities. This burdens healthcare givers. Women go through ordeals to deliver.
It is a very bad situation. On 2 occasions, we have had women deliver on the road on the way to the hospital. Some also end up with a lot of complications.
This has prompted action from the district health management team. Several interventions are to reverse this.
The community members will help us come out with solutions that will fast track the referral of our pregnant women to the higher level. For instance, most of them don't support the idea of delivering at home because of the complications. So what they do is, with their local bylaws, they will say, oh, if we deliver at home, we are going to charge you, or it has a penalty that will be attracted for you to pay.
This has deterred several women from giving birth at home. The monies collected are put in a fund for a community transport emergency system.
We have formed mother-to-mother support groups in the district where they meet on a monthly basis to discuss about maternal health issues that will go a long way to improve upon their health.
These interventions have saved several women and brought hope to healthcare givers in the district.
So much hope in the health system because we are able to assess the system, we are able to assess your health status, and we are able to determine when you need services that we cannot offer you based on our level. And then we are able to make proper arrangements to get you to the next level. The only challenge, of course, has to do with the roads and the unavailability of the ambulance system, the ambulance services when you need it.
The District Assembly says it is relying on central government to improve the road network and enhance health care.
We put in our composite budget to open new roads in 2018. And then we also put in the same budget to rehabilitate some of the roads. But we need interventions from central government and whoever that can support us to improve upon our roads.
With over 37,000 population, central government's intervention in speeding up development at the local level will improve health care.
Inadequate classroom blocks in the Akurio DA school in the Bongo district of the Upper East region is hampering quality teaching and learning. Teachers say the situation is negatively affecting attendance as some parents have stopped their wards from going to school.
Of living things.
The Akurio Basic School was established in 2014 to bring education to children in the community and surrounding communities in the Bongo district. The community shares boundaries with Burkina Faso, thus allows cross-education. The 3-classroom block school has 178 pupils with 6 teachers. It was break time at the school when the news team arrived. Soon, break was over and time to continue the day's lessons. As some pupils made their way to classrooms, These little ones settled on their chairs right under the shed. For years, kindergarten 1, 2, and basic 1 pupils have been having lessons under this shed. This is basic 1 student of the Akuyo DA primary school here in the Bongo district. Now right behind me is a pupil. His job here is to hold this dangling blackboard so that his colleagues can write. Without any support, this will be on the floor. And so it has become a routine thing here. Students or pupils will have to go in turns. The stress that comes with the holding of the blackboard by both teachers and pupils is enough reason to let them stay off the classroom. For these kindergarten 1, 2, and basic 1 pupils, a well-positioned blackboard will be enough to keep their interest in education.
This is girl.
The school does not just lack classroom blocks, but also lacks basic educational logistics. Textbooks are luxury, not even the teachers can afford. The Akuyo Basic School, since its establishment, has never received text and lessons books from the Ghana Education Service. In the absence of textbooks and logistics for storage, the school storeroom has been converted into a classroom for the basic 4 pupils. Pupils write the day's passage in their exercise book during each English lesson.
This village, Dabia is a village about 300 kilometers from Accra. When it already arrived from the big city.
We went around trying to see where we can get textbooks for the school. But when you go to a different school, all of them, they are old ones. They are the old ones. So we didn't get any new textbooks to come and help the school. So we have to buy pamphlets from outside, give to the teachers, and we'll be teaching the children.
The school has no basic 6 classroom. The head teacher, Akafari Emmanuel, tells me if pupils are promoted to basic 6 next academic year, they may be required to erect another shed. The Harmattan season, we are told, compounds the situation as the fear of the cold weather deter pupils from going to school. This was evident at the basic 1 class. The class teacher, Matthew Moka, revealed 4 pupils did not show up due to the cold weather.
But because of we are under this, many are not present today because of the Harmattan. Some feel cool and all that.
The district education director, Duncan Nson, says the challenges are enormous.
Before a school is established, the district director will write letters, make sure that the district assembly together with all other districts will provide at least a 3-unit classroom block and an office and that sort of thing. But the fact is that between the time the school is established and the time the district assembly is able to provide the first 3 classroom blocks for them, it might have hit 4 years or 5 years. Meaning that the first children who were gathered to form the school, to come out with the school, would have been in P5. So if you have 3 classroom blocks, 3 classroom block school, it means the P5 and the P4 will now be sitting under what? Trees.
The Bongo District Chief Executive says work on an additional 3 classroom block will soon commence to complement the existing 3 classroom.
These are people who are going to write the same exams with children in Accra, Kumasi, and well-endowed schools. So the question you ask is, how favorable are they going to compete with their colleagues in other places? So as a government, we are not sitting down throwing our hands on air, saying what to do. We have put in place strategies. We have adopted and we have made enough budget allocation to ensure that we put up more schools to be able to accommodate these children.
But until then, both teachers and pupils will have to contend with the challenges, including the bad weather. Zubaida Ismail, TV3 News, Bongo.
And that's it for Mission Ghana. Join us again same time next week with another edition of Mission. Mission is brought to you by Star Ghana with funding from the European Union, Danida and UKA.
Welcome back to News 360 now. The Anglican Bishop of Kumasi, Right Reverend Professor Daniel Yenkasafo, has called on traditional authorities to be truthful and always seek the guidance of God to help them carry out successful policies. He said this in a sermon marking the Thanksgiving service with the final funeral rites of the late Asantehima Nana Efia Kobi Sewa Ampim.
The St. Cyprian's Anglican Church in Kumasi welcomed many dignitaries, including Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Koe, head of various religious bodies, chiefs, politicians and people from all walks of life joined in the Thanksgiving service. Prayers were said for the Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu II, the nation and peaceful elections last year. The service was filled with hymns and praises. The Anglican Bishop of Kumasi, Right Reverend Professor Daniel Yenkasafo, in a sermon called on traditional authorities to be truthful and always seek the guidance of God. He said it was only through that they could successfully carry out their good policies and programs. The Reverend Minister paid glowing tribute to the late Asantehima and enjoined other traditional leaders to emulate the late Queen Mother.
Before becoming Asantehima, was an ideal Christian woman who believed in the Lord Jesus Christ. She was baptized and confirmed as an Anglican, and therefore was a full member of the church and a communicant to the last day of her life on earth.
On behalf of Otumfuo, Paramount Chief of Jabin and Chairman of the Council of State, Nana Otuo Srebro thanked all for their support during the funeral. To entertainment now. Any guess who is the most wanted person in Ghana is now? Well, it's Sadia. But the question is, who is Sadia? Well, the journey to discovering who Sadia is kickstarts on Monday, December 11, as the much talked about local telenovela premieres on TV3. Owusu Arai joined the cast on location, and they have been telling us why Sadia is a must watch.
Okay. Episode 5-11, reverse shot take 1.
Action for Jamal.
Promising Ghanaian dramatist Julius Depp wrote and directed the much-anticipated local telenovela, Sadia.
People should just stick to their sets and expect nothing but the best, because if you watch Sadia, you are part of history being made, because this is the first local telenovela. There is more suspense and it's longer. Like the normal drama series, they are usually 30 minutes, but this is going to be 45 minutes. Solid 45 minutes on your TVs. So it's going to be great.
What is there to pick from Sadia?
One thing that just off the top of my head I can say is that you cannot bury secrets for long. No matter how deep you think you've buried your secrets, one day, it will rain so hard that it will wash the soil and that secret will come out. In Sadia, there are a lot of secrets, and even Sadia as a person is a secret.
Why shouldn't we miss Monday's action?
Yeah, like I said, it's the first authentic local telenovela, and I think it's about time we support our own. You understand? This is coming from Ghana. If Sadia takes off, you see other people following. What is unique about Sadia is that we are blending, like you said, the old talents with the new talents, and it gives a very great blend. And that's what makes Sadia even more unique.
When I was called to be part and parcel of this telenovela, I was so happy. I'm playing the role of Auntie Alice. I'm the head of the house help in Mr. Gibson's home, and I'm close with Mr. Gibson.
In Sadia, Mr. Gibson is haunted by his past after years of impregnating and abandoning his first daughter. The business mogul dies, leaving behind secret known to only one person, his senior maidservant and secret lover, Alice, played by Akuma Mamazimbi.
The family don't know I have the secret. They don't know. So I got to find a way to reveal all this to them. It's been a long time I hit the screen, and you see, I still have the flair. You see, the arts is there, so just stay glued to TV3 and I'll just be there for you.
Award-winning presenter Johnny Hughes played McCarthy, Mr. Gibson's adopted son.
It's more like a revengeful role. I hear he's dead, so I'm seeking to find out who killed him.
As the fun and suspense-filled storyline thickens, it will leave viewers with lots of moral lessons.
I think that it brings to the fore the issue that, well, it's okay to have a child and not want to take care of your children. It brings to the fore fathers or parents who would like to keep precious secrets away from their children and in fact their immediate family, because that's one of the key things. And
Harold Amenya is in there as Bob Gibson, Mr. Gibson's first son.
It's something that is going to get viewers locked or hooked to their seats. Don't miss it for anything, because hey, for those of you who are asking when I'm coming back, I'm back, and I'm back in Sadia.
There's eyes. So watch Sadia and you get to know that, hey, you really don't let Ghana to the world.
I think that you should start from the beginning so that you know everything that's happening. You're able to follow, because if you miss one episode, you ask yourself why.
The big question, however, remains, who is Sadia?
Who is Sadia?
I want to know Sadia.
I also want to know Sadia. Nobody knows Sadia, but I think with time you will get to know Sadia.
I think that for a total conclusion of the story, they must skip their sets on TV3.
Who is Sadia? I think it's Isi Benewa.
She's
Sadia. You should watch out for her.
I wish I was Sadia.
Absolutely.
Most wanted.
It's most wanted. Something to look out for. The suspense is good. Tomorrow, don't miss it. Exactly 8 o'clock. But let's go on to some international news now. And charges of indecency dropped against 24 women caught wearing trousers at a party near the Sudanese capital, Khartoum. Details are sketchy as we speak at the moment, but then what we do know is that the charges of indecency have been dropped against the 24 women caught wearing trousers at that party near the Sudanese capital. Well, you know.
Interesting developments elsewhere.
They should enjoy the moment. But, well, thank you very much for staying with us here on News 360. Remember, Sadia premieres tomorrow. My name is Alfred Akonse.
And mine is Isi Benewa Oti. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your evening.